Matt.
What? It was porn. It was porn.
I was wondering if you want to play a nice friendly game of Seen It. It's just a simple game of Seen It. There's no way that this could tell whether or not you're Kira, but it could give me some useful information.
You do know how good I am at Seen It, Sarah Jessica Parker.
Oh, I know. But I think I can hold my own.
Of course he wasn't the real SJP, but even if that absurd alias was his real name, I can't do anything. I couldn't risk killing the actual Sarah Jessica Parker. Wait, if I don't do it, who will? I'm the only one who can.
I believe we're set up. You can go first.
Would he really leave something this important up to chance? Oops.
Oh, I'm sure you think you're clever, Matt. It says draw a card. I'll draw. Dorothy and friends walk down the What's Brick Road in the Wizard of Oz.
A question this easy must be a trap. I could lose on purpose, but would that tip him off?
It doesn't matter how you answer, Matt. I've already gotten the information I needed. This little act of yours is practically transparent.
He probably thinks he got his answers, but he's only got the answers I've let slip out. Regardless, this ends now. Yellow.
So, he's going for the win. Well, it seems you've beaten me, Light. Congratulations, though. You've given me quite a bit of useful information.
Like what?
Your name is Matthew David Roe. You were born and raised in the Baltimore, Maryland area, and you've in fact never left North America, though this may be due to your many allergies, most of which are pet-related, but a couple of which are nature-related. There's also one that I would diagnose as an allergy to fun, though that's just my own diagnosis and probably less than 7% wrong. You have 2 roommates, one of which is male, one of which is female. Though you've lived with the male one for significantly longer than the female one, which suggests that about a 12% rate that you're homosexual, but it's probably more on the fact that you're $32,000 in debt, and you only have $465 in your bank account, most of which is going to rent in the next 2 days. However, the remaining amount will go towards food and gas within the next 2 weeks. Your social security number...
No. Okay, we'll fucking talk to you later. Movie!
Well, it seems that
Movie, David!
How do you know my name?
Because the joke's over. Movie!
God damn it. I like being Al.
Tough shit. Movie.
We watched the movie today!
Death Note!
The 2017 Netflix original. Original.
Let's call it that.
Alright. I'm going to get through this plot real quick. If you haven't seen the original series, Death Note, before anything else, this is a spoiler cap. This has only been out for a week. We are spoiling everything.
Yes. Because we don't care.
If you haven't seen the original Death Note series,
do so.
If you have seen the original Death Note series, guess what? You still don't know the plot of this one. So it opens with a American teenage student who's always in trouble with
Seattle.
He's always in trouble with his teachers and such. His name is Light Turner. He's so bright, but he puts it all to bad use.
Calls him to Timmy.
He gets a notebook that falls from the sky, and it is labeled Death Note. And so he gets detention because of some other shit. And he looks out the window and says, "Oh man, there's some bullies." Suddenly, God of Death shows up, like, "Hey, you can kill him." I was like, "Oh, okay." Writes down his name, it kills him. So already we got our test of the Death Note and all that. And Ryuk's shown up. Movie then goes into fast forward where he gets vengeance on his mother's killer because his mom was killed and the guy got away. And then he's like, "Hey, pretty girl who I've watched from a distance, I can't tell you a thing about my life unless you want to know. Do you want to know?"
I want to know.
Cool, I'll tell you everything. So then he fills in Mia Sutton on the Death Note, and it's inner workings. And he's like, "Okay, so here's my plan. I want to kill bad people, like criminals and stuff, and we can make the world a better place because of it." And she's like, "Dude, you could totally be God." And he's like, "That was my original plan, but hey, you got the boob, sure." So they go on a killing spree, and they take the name of Kira, which means light in Russian and Gaelic, except it doesn't. But it kind of means killer in Japanese, except it doesn't.
Yeah.
So they go off on that, and suddenly, all of a sudden, Kira's this big problem, and a detective...
And also, they chose Kira?
Also, a detective known as L gets on the plot, and he gets in contact with Light's father, who's the only police officer in the entire Seattle PD who doesn't think Kira is a good thing. So they start getting to the bottom of things because the first killing was actually in Seattle. And they are like, oh, okay, well, let me try something. And L goes out in front of an audience. It's like, hey, I'm L. Light, kill me. He's like, I can't. I don't have his name. And then he's like, shit. All right, well, I know you're in Seattle now, for certain. Then they get a bunch of FBI agents to follow people inside the precinct. Mia kills a bunch of the FBI agents. She blames it on Ryuk, and he gets away with it.
She doesn't even blame it. She just kind of lets him blame
Ryuk's just
anyway.
like, yep, it was me.
Ryuk is just like, what'd you think?
So the FBI agents are dead, and he's like, all right, so now it's definitely someone who was in the thing. Hey, Light's father, go out on camera. Okay. Kira, you're a bitch.
He ain't dead. It's Light.
Hey, yeah, Dad's still alive. Light's definitely Kira. So then they confront each other. It's just like, yeah, you don't understand the shit that's going on. It's like, I'll catch you, justice. And then,
You don't know me, man. You're not my real dad.
And then Mia's like, okay, so what are we going to do in order to get Shell? And he's like, all right, I got a plan. We're going to use Watery, and he's going to give us a name. Watery calls him up. I don't know the name. Well, go fucking get it. Click. You got 2 days or else you're dead. What do you mean 2 days or else? I was like, well, I'm going to burn this page. That's going to keep him alive. And Lemire's like, bitch, you only get one. So, fast forward through a bite of the movie, because not much fucking happens.
Chase scene.
Finally, when L realizes that Light stole water, he's like, I will find you! And he makes a big little stand about that. Doesn't actually do anything, now that I think about it.
No.
So, yeah, they have a plan, and then Mia's like, hey, look, Light, I took a page with Watery's name on it, so he died anyway because he didn't have a chance to burn it.
Because you're a pussy.
You're a pussy. Give me the book. I'm going to be better with it. And he's like, oh, no. And he's like, no, I wrote your name in it, and I'll burn your page and for you if you give me the book. He's like, damn it, she got me. So then there's a chase scene where he's obviously planned something. They get to a Ferris wheel, and he's like, Mia, if you love me, don't take the book. And she's like, I love you. I'm going to take the book. But then the Ferris wheel starts falling over because apparently she wrote his name, or he wrote her name in it, and she falls to her death, and the page with his name on it falls gently into a fire.
And then he finds a very convoluted way of being able to get his
which
death
is all
note
revealed
back
in the last act. And then L manages to deduce that it's all based off this piece of paper, and he's got the paper, and he he's got the pen, and it's like, L totally credits to the heart.
Where to start?
I think we should start with the technical aspects.
We are going to start with the technical aspects.
Alright.
Just go right down the list. Initially, before we even get to the worst part, cinematography. It
moved nicely. The transitions were good.
There was some really good parallel editing between certain scenes, and that was done with really good cross wipes, and I was impressed by that.
As you pointed out, but it's not as big a deal to me, the color grading.
It's very anemic.
Yes, they're
so drained.
On the scale of Captain America: The First Avenger to Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's at Bad Kids Go to Hell.
Yeah.
It looks a lot like it.
Deep cut. I like it.
It is. Like, and the reason that we say Bad Kids Go to Hell, we're going to get to that in a second when we get to script.
All right, but first, also in the tech, the music. So when the original Death Note came out, had a good score. It had some orchestral. I'm not talking about the themes.
I know.
Had some orchestral score, some chanting choirs,
some great piano
theme. So Bonnie Tyler. Yeah, it's 80s soft rock. It's all 80s soft rock.
All of it.
The entire soundtrack.
It is so inappropriate.
Pop. For a modern day teenage relationship movie, because that's what this is now. It's not about mental games, it's not about anything else. It is a modern relationship movie with some paranormal aspects to it. And what do you show is a relationship? Then the pinnacle of love itself, the 80s.
cocaine and soft rock. The music is unbelievably inappropriate, and especially toward the latter half of it, it seems that the music never fucking stops.
No, because they go to a dance, and every time they cut to a dance, it's a new song.
Yeah, and then when the dance ends, like they continue the song on for like the chase scene.
What about love?
Like it makes, and then when Mia and Light are hanging off the side of the Ferris wheel. This is where I finally quit the movie. The fucking music is so inappropriate. It's like, alright, it's not inappropriate in a way that obviously, like this movie, like, this is a bad song for this movie. It's just a bad song for this movie, yes. But the thing is, though, whatever emotion you were trying to go there, you failed spectacularly.
I almost feel like the director was trying to do some form of dissonance, like, oh, these terrible things are happening, but we're playing this upbeat music, so it kind of makes you feel good about these terrible things. I feel like that's what.
Were you trying to do Tarantino, like what he was doing, like with Reservoir Dogs and stuff like that? I'm stuck in the middle with you, like.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was played in this movie. That's the kind of music we're doing.
The music is so. Actually, this is the one thing I'll say about that. The music is so uniform. Like, it's from the same era, and it's the same style and stuff like that. There's not a whole lot of stuff that was intercut in between it.
It would work great in a period piece.
It would.
That year.
Like, if you decided to set this in the 80s and made it a point to set it in the 80s, then it made sense. But the fact of the matter is, though, this is 2017. This movie takes place in the present day. No fucking high school dance is playing this music.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They're not. They're playing Migos.
To be fair, it's Seattle, which is not that far away from Portland. And I can imagine.
But this is not Portlandia.
All right, so that's that.
A couple more things that I have to say about the tech.
No, that's what I was going to.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
The special effects.
Well, I was going to go the editing first.
Oh, okay.
The editing, besides like a lot of really good parallel editing they have in certain scenes, the editing is all over the fucking place. Some of the scenes, these shots are lasting longer than I think they probably should, and then there's other scenes I'm like, can you slow down? Because I can't get the information of what you're going for here.
Yeah.
But then again, like some scenes were cool. Like one of L's first scenes when he gets into a limo and you first meet Watari and he's like eating like candy and stuff like that. Like that's actually not a bad scene. It only has like 2 shots in it.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. It does what it needs to do, but at the same time, it's not particularly interesting either.
Yeah, I didn't like that scene because of that. I was just like, okay, we're getting introduced to their relationship, but I don't.
But it's also not done. But that's also goes into the script. And the last thing to bring up was the special effects. Now that's kind of cut into 2 different things. One, it's the gore effects of the people dying.
Yes.
And then the other one is Ryuk.
Which we can flow right into acting because Ryuk is the best part of this whole damn movie.
This is what kept me watching through this movie both times.
Now, he's not in a lot of it. He keeps a back seat, as he did in the anime, but because...
He was way more in the anime, though.
But because Mia enters into the frame, and Elle enters into the frame so early, he's given a real shaft in regards to the anime comparison. But...
yeah.
When they do keep him, they keep him in shadow. They make sure not to make it just out in the daylight where it's like, oh, wow, look at the Valley of Uncanniness. That is this. No, they keep him hidden, Jaws style, to make it more believable.
It's scary.
And what's really scary about it is his voice.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe as Ryuk.
Now, when this movie first got... advertising. When I first heard when this movie was going to be coming out, my initial response of it was like, oh dear God. It's Netflix, but they have gone back and forth on the adaptations that they've done.
See, I was happy about it being Netflix and stuff. I was cool. I was like, yeah, awesome, Netflix, until I saw the first trailer. And I was like, oh,
See, I didn't even mind it after the first trailer necessarily.
I just did because it seemed more spectacle than Brain Game.
True, very true. But the thing is, though, that was a big thing was that the director, Adam Wingard, he's the guy who did the Blair Witch reboot.
The new.
It was like that happened like a year or so ago. And that movie in and of itself was not bad. Like, it wasn't great. It's not on par with the original Blair Witch for me because it's just rehashing the same shit. But at the same time, though, visually put together, like, it's a good cohesive movie for the most part. And I was like, okay, as much as I'm iffy on this and all that kind of stuff, and that's not a horrible choice. I don't particularly care for the writers and all that. But the fact that Willem Dafoe was playing Ryuk, that is what sold me on the movie. And also, I always forget his name, the guy who plays L.
Lakeith
Stanton? Or Stanfield, sorry.
Stanfield,
he was in Get Out. I can't remember a lot of the other. He's also in the Get Down, I think.
Yes.
And it's like, and so he.
Get Down, Get Out.
Yeah, I know. It's like, but he's a very, very talented actor, and actually, I guess we're moving into acting now.
Yeah, no, he's great. I mean, he got the L.
Pulls L's mannerisms off really well,
perfectly.
especially the way he talks.
Yeah,
It's very mechanical.
Yeah, I was a little bit unsure because the first time they show him, he's at the crime scene investigating, which if you know L,
he doesn't do that.
He's able to look at a piece of paper with the details and be like, oh, well, here's clearly what happened.
Yeah, but that's getting into comparisons.
Yeah, so
this L.
This L is great. I would say up until the last act, he still plays his part perfectly. He acts, he follows the script, and is able to make me believe it perfectly. It's just I didn't like the character towards the last act.
Yeah.
Then, next down the list, in the way of perfection, I would say would probably be the father character.
Yeah.
He...
Well, yeah.
He was good. He was very well played. I believed his struggles and stuff like that. The only problem I had was that he's the lone cop who sees how bad everything is.
Like
no one believes him.
He's the only cop who's willing to stand up to Kira.
And it's like, okay, that's a little bit contrived, but I like the character's playing it well. He still does his job, even if everyone's against him. He's not like, well, you guys suck, and I'm reporting you all to internal affairs.
No, he's trying
like,
to...
This is how cops are. I just got to keep pressing. And it's good. That's good. I like him. He's good. Next down the line is Mia. Mia was believable. Mia was good.
Shea Wingham plays the dad, James Turner.
James Turner, yes. Mia was good. And her name is?
Mia's name is Margaret Qualley.
Yes, Margaret Qualley.
I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name.
She was good. She always came off to me like... so this movie is so geared towards 13-year-old edgelords. She struck me as the girlfriend that all those 13-year-old edgelords want to have. She's a cheerleader, but she's not into that sort of conformist shit. She's totally nice and beautiful and stuff like that until you get her alone, and then she shows how dark she really is.
I mean, it's not even like she's not even overtly edgy. Like, she's a cheerleader in this one.
Yeah.
And she's just a cheerleader who doesn't give a fuck. Like, she's like in the very beginning of the movie, like she's doing like these cheer stuff where she's just like
everyone's like, yeah,
bored and whatnot. She's like smoking a cigarette shit during practice.
So much better than that.
I mean, what fucking school would you be able to get away with that? Because as far as I'm aware, cheerleaders do have coaches. So
busy with football,
I guess so. But it's
overall,
lame shit.
That's her character. Her acting, she played it fine. I believed her, and I believed her as that sort of girl that all the edgy 13-year-olds would have wanted. Hell, when I was that age, I probably would have wanted her. But now I see her as the hot...
I wanted the original Misa.
Yeah, that too. But I see this girl now, in my older years, as the hot trash fire that she is. Don't go near that shit. Don't. Kids, look at me. If you're thinking about that, don't.
Oh, she was also in The Nice Guys and Palo Alto.
Okay, yeah. So she's a good history, and she was fine. The biggest problem I had was...
Chelsea Lately. That's a decent movie.
Was the last character. Our good old Light Turner.
So fucking Turner.
This is Nat Wolff.
Mr. Nat Wolff.
Who's been in several movies. He's had a good career. He's been in Fault in Our Stars, I believe, or one of those books by Green. But the one I know him for, the one that when they announced him, I was like, oh god, that guy was Naked Brothers Band on Nickelodeon.
I do remember that one.
That was concerning.
I remember the previews for that shit when it came out.
He's now playing God of Death Kira.
He was also in Paper Towns.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Paper Towns. It's still a John Green one.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so that's the sort of shit that I'm like, ooh, is he good? And to be fair, for a lot of the movie,
he's also in The Fault in Our Stars.
For a lot of really, he was double cast.
Yeah.
All right. For a lot of the movie, he was fine. He was completely fine as Light Turner. Not as Light Yagami, but as Light Turner, this new OC Do Not Steal. There were two scenes that really fucked it for him. His reaction to Ryuk, first meeting. No, come on, man. Dignity. Have some dignity.
It kind of reminds me of like, you know, when Let's Players and vloggers are doing like comedy series and they're like pretending to act like scared, man. And when they're like,
no, stop.
I mean, in the context of the scene itself, because
that is how probably most people would react.
And it's so okay, we get that. Like, I honestly think that's legit.
But it took out all sort of, man, this kid is cool. No, that's gone. You're done now.
This kid is not cool.
You are a dork.
It's simple.
You are a dweeb. You are a social outcast.
And that's another thing. But no, that's getting into scripts. Yeah. Okay.
So the other moment is the end of the movie where he's getting into the Ferris wheel, and he shouts at the guy who's running the ride. No one else gets on, okay? Let's go to the top right now.
And he shoots the machine.
Is that just your thing? Like when this kid gets stressed, he gets high pitched? Because I don't. Now, Wolf, you had to pick that. You had to choose that, unless the director told you to do it. Sorry, try again. That's the most I can say. It wasn't. That's not. You're not cool. No, and maybe you're not trying to be, but God damn it, you should have been.
It's less about how he played. I mean, how he played the character, and more about how the character was written.
Which is script. But before we get how it ties into the anime, how it's adapted,
we're going to go this by its actual
this movie by itself
as a self-contained story.
Here's where it falls flat over and over and over again in its own logic.
Its own logic, yes. And first thing that I actually want to note is actually one particular scene.
Okay.
It's a scene where Light and Mia had a falling out, and he's coming back to his house. It's in the rain.
Yes.
And it's at night, and Mia is just waiting there, and she's like, I flipped out. I didn't know what to do. This is right after
Hell's confrontation.
Yeah, it's like, and then he's just like
Hell's confrontation. Where he shows his face halfway.
It's also his dad. It's his dad doing the speech on television.
Oh yeah.
And because that's what made them flip out. And then this scene, she's like, "Oh, I love you, Light." It's like, "I love you. I love you."
I was a cheerleader. Nothing I did before this point ever mattered. But you came along.
One huge. Excuse me. Huge jab at cheerleaders, by the way. But two, this scene reminds me of The Notebook.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that scene in The Notebook.
Yeah.
It's like, and that is not a good thing.
No.
Because regardless of if there are any fans of that shit out here, I fucking hate Nicholas Sparks stories. And The Notebook in particular, you might consider me heartless, and I am, but at the same time, though, it is an unbelievably stupid story between two people who fucking should never be together.
Which I'm going to go ahead and reiterate. Kids out there, don't go for that hot garbage fire.
No,
this doesn't work out.
This is a trash fire. This is a trash fire trap if I've ever seen one. But
yeah, that scene in general was just, it was literally, that's something I've noticed about Netflix shows, because I rewatched through all the things that went into Defenders.
Yeah.
And there's always an episode that has a scene that's just like straight out of the most genre fucking thing, where it's like the one in Jessica Jones was like, I just don't know how to beat him. Well, I'm sure you'll figure out a way. You've always believed in me, haven't you? Sure have. Oh my fucking god! There's one of those in like every Netflix original, and it doesn't stop here.
And so, first problem I have with the writing.
Yes.
By the plot, Light is an extremely intelligent boy.
Yes, he is. At least he's supposed to be.
He is not.
He is not.
He is written so fucking stupid in this movie. It's amazing how stupid he is.
2 signs that he's intelligent. Sign 1, he does other kids' homework for money. That's generally been a sign of like, yeah, I know all the answers, give me money.
Okay.
Second sign is that he makes a comment about his dad not understanding something. He's like, is that because you're so smart or because I'm so dumb? That's it. That's all
And he's making a crack about police officers.
That's all that you ever get, that, hey, this man is more intelligent than your average bear.
And then the final plan wrap up at the end where he's like... But at the same time, though, it's not really him being smart. It's just making sure that he covers his end.
I don't include anything in the third act as revealing new things about the character.
All right, fair enough. One thing...
Hold on, one thing real quick on that being smart
thing.
The reason that we know that he's not smart is that every action he takes in regards of throwing Elle off his trail puts him more on the trail.
This guy does not have a overly deductive or inductive mind.
What's that? The FBI's following me?
Guess
I'll stop killing.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop killing. I'll throw him off. I'll lay low for a while. It's like, oh, my dad is talking online. Well, I can't kill him or anything like that.
Guess I'll let him live, despite the fact I would have killed anyone else in that situation.
Yeah. Like, and then you're surprised that Elle finds out. Second thing that I can't really stand about this Elle character, and this kind of Light. Sorry, I always keep doing that. I apologize. They both get with Elle, but Light. One of the problem I can't stand about this Light character, and this is a little bit to do with the original thing, but at the same time, this is self-contained in this. His motivations, his character motivations, he kind of goes off. It's like, oh, you know, we could build a great world together and whatnot. His motivation is very simple. It's one fucking thing. Now, to be fair, in the words of David Mamet and all that kind of stuff, the fact of the matter is, though, your hero needs one thing that they want. But, like Turner's desire is pussy.
No, I think that might be the problem. It splits. Originally, his whole thing, while they're having their sex scene, while they're talking about their goals, he says, like, no, these people aren't sheep. They just need someone to look up to. He wants to be a good person, a good god, without using the word God.
And he doesn't have a god complex.
To these people. But then it splits, where it seems like every time he's writing a name, he's making out with this girl.
So, you want this one? This one good? This is a terrorist.
He's always looking for her approval for all these different moves.
He wants treats. So he wants a sex treat.
It's bouncing between, I'm doing what's right for the people.
Sex treat?
But I could also get pussy for it. That makes me a likable character, right? No, it makes you stupid.
No, it makes you really stupid. And, Mia is a devious character, and actually, to be honest, she's probably one of the most three-dimensional characters in the movie.
Yeah, she almost, if you look at it on base level, she almost comes off as just like a stereotypical villain.
She did. She's very, like...
I killed those FBI agents like tonight, let's watch me die.
But the thing is, though, as opposed to every other fucking character in this, she doesn't actually lay all of her cards on the table when she says anything.
Exactly.
Like, Light never once, like, alludes... Like, even in his first confrontation with Elle, he basically says that he's Kira.
He says he's Kira, and Elle reveals his face.
Yeah. All of the same moment.
That's like, oh, I have a royal flush. Take a look. Hey!
Can't wait for my turn.
God damn it.
Also, Ryuk, well, actually, no, that's kind of getting into the comparison.
Okay.
The last... the writing when it comes down to the plot holes, and these are the major points of it.
Yes.
And we gotta go quickly with this. The fact of the matter is, though, the plot holes in this completely negate its own logic.
Alright, so burn the page gets rid of a name.
It's primarily all about the Death Note.
Yes, so burning the page gets rid of the name. Cool, great. That's just how it works. Let's ignore the fact that doesn't make any sense if you really think about it for more than 2 minutes. But burning the page gets rid of the name. Mia wrote down Light's name in the book. Light sees the name in his book.
And she left it in the fucking book.
And says, shit, guess I can't do anything about it.
Nothing in the rule says that he can't just tear the fucking name out and burn it right then and there. If she had the page on her, she would have the blackmail and the leverage to do it. But she didn't.
Which means
there was nothing that literally made Light have to go through any of this.
The entire last act was completely null and void by this.
Yes.
none of the tension should have been there.
This has nothing to do with the original series. This is simply logic that is completely I don't understand how this got by somebody else. This is basic logic.
The only explanation is that there may have been like a deleted scene where it said like only the person who wrote it can burn it.
But they don't do that. And also like there's this idea like that I had that Ryuk is kind of fucking with Light and Mia because it's not written in there because they say you can only burn one name and that's it. There's two reasons why I think that's bullshit. One, it's not written in the book.
Yeah,
he just says it to them as if you only have
100 rules in the book. Probably not actually a rule.
Second thing is, this has obviously been handled by other previous owners. There's tons of other names already written in it. Not a solitary one of them ever burned a page.
It's theoretically possible that he meant per owner, but
at the same time, that's not included. That's just in the fact you can only burn one. So the fact of the matter is, though, the loophole that you threw in here to make it kind of like tension, it still makes absolutely no fucking sense. And I guess the last thing we should get into is the actual comparisons between the two.
Yes.
It's like, one, Light and Misa from the original ones. Light was one of the most talented, most smartest kids in Japan. Yeah, he got perfect entrance scores. He was like nationally renowned. He helps police departments solve crimes.
He's a Nancy Drew.
It's basically Nancy Drew.
And so this guy, he gets in the principal's office, goes to detention.
Misa is supposed to be a teen model, an icon for young women and all that kind of stuff. And also, she's a Lolita as fuck, but that's beside the point. But the thing is, though, Light and Mia in this movie, they're social outcasts in a way. It's never alluded that they like it. The only time in the entire movie that it actually alludes to the fact that the rest of the school cares about what's going on with them is when they're walking down the hallway together, holding each other's hands, and everyone's like, whoa!
During a montage.
Just,
I think that would be more. I think it would be explained even more so by the fact of those two people got together, the social outcast and the cheerleader. Well, that's something to gawk at. Not those two super popular people got together. Yeah, would have seen that coming.
And let's just say, for instance, that Mia was not a social outcast like Light or anything like that.
First off, I'm gonna poke holes in that. I'm gonna poke holes in that right away because of the fact that they clearly make purpose of the fact that in her locker it's like normal people scare me.
Yeah.
If she's not a social outcast, oh by God, she wants to be a Hot Topic baby.
And also the fact of the matter is, though, if she's not a social outcast, if she is a social outcast, why the fuck is she in a cheerleader squad?
Literally, her character doesn't make sense.
No, it's a massive contradiction
standpoint.
And it's the same thing with Light. Like the problem is with Light and Mia in this movie is that they are a cacophony of contradictions.
I think what happened was the writer was told, hey...
There was three.
Well,
at least three scripted. You know the rule was every person that you see on there has at least two people. So if there was three, you most likely will probably have, I don't know, like 6 to 9.
The writer probably said, or was told, or thought, whatever, hey, I'm going to adapt this story where I need to introduce this pop diva character a hell of a lot sooner, this super popular pop diva, and also this honor student Japan character much sooner. So he needs to be incredibly smart, and she needs to be incredibly popular. But I also want to play the edgelords in the middle school genre. So he has to be a social outcast, and she has to be a social outcast, despite the fact that the two previous things that I mentioned before don't mix with that at all.
Make it work.
Make it work. And all you're going to get is a fucking crazy-ass mix. That's why I think L works so well. Is that... Hey,
I'll also battle you on that, though.
Okay, but I think that's why L works so well, is that, okay, here is a detective who never lets himself be known to anyone, and I gotta mix him with a detective who doesn't let himself be known, but Jesus Christ, it fits perfectly. The only problem comes into the third act, where this detective who keeps from a distance and is able to solve these things from fucking papers and pictures.
He is part of a gun chase.
Part of a gun chase through
a car chase, too.
Ah!
It's...
Why? Why?
It's like if the Hunt for Red October, which is entirely like, you know, mind games and strategy. If all of a sudden it devolved into a shootout at the very end. Oh wait, yeah, it does. Now I love the Hunt for Red October, but the thing is though, it's completely out of character, right?
The inverse of it would be if like the movie Battleship. You remember that one? If the movie Battleship at the very end, instead of drop the anchor, make the hard turn, fire everything. If instead they were like, what if we made the aliens think that we were going to fire everything? And then the aliens are like, well, they're probably thinking about making us fire everything. That would be the exact inverse. They would switch their ending scenes.
In comparison, and this I think one of the major problems that the movie has just in general is mostly laying on how Light's character was changed. Because he's also a very manic character.
Yeah.
He lets his emotions rule him a lot. Now, to be fair, in the original anime,
my fucking dad.
Like to be fair, in the original, every single time L lets his emotions get the better of him, L gets the upper hand. The first time that you see it is what happens when he's doing the whole Linda L. Taylor bullshit in the very beginning. He lets his ego and his God complex get in the way of it, and then he realizes that. You know, he's like, damn it, he got me, and all that kind of stuff. But then after that, he starts laughing about it, because like, all right, let the games begin. But that's the type of character Light was. He's not this in this movie, mainly because of two things. One, this character in and of itself, Mia put it very well. He's a pussy.
Yeah.
He can't do. He is not stepping up to the mantle in which that he originally is going with. The moment he has to legitimately get his hands dirty is when he stops.
It's the moment that he believes that his cause was tarnished.
Yes.
The moment that the FBI agent stepped in, he literally says, we're fucked. Ryuk fucked us. He's like, all right, we're done. Kira's dead.
I will say though, Kira, through his ideology, his ethics, okay, that's the way it was, and the way that Mia reacts to that, it's exactly how he would react in a way. He's like, no, that is not Kira's morals.
Yeah.
The problem with that being is that Kira was a concoction of both of them.
Yeah, it wasn't Light.
It wasn't Light. It was both of them who did it. He had the Death Note. She was his backbone in order for him to use it. They had 400 criminals' names written all over the world inside of it, and it was primarily because Mia was like, well, if you kill people, I'll fuck you.
I think the trailer said it best. Where it's in the movie as well. It says, "You think I'm crazy, don't you?" She says, "I don't think you're crazy enough."
Yeah, and
that sums up the relationship.
And that
perfectly.
sums up her character too, because she's psycho.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and she's not psycho in the way that Misa in the original is psycho.
No, Misa was devoted.
She was a devote. That's the best way to say it. She was a devotee, a worshiper of Kira.
She reaped the benefits of Kira due to his actions, and therefore was willing to do anything for him.
Yeah.
And when it was revealed that it was Light and all that, she's like, okay, I'll do whatever you want.
And the only reason that she came involved in his life in the first place is because she had the second Death Note with Rem. That's another thing that we didn't mention. There is no other Shinigamis in this movie. Ryuk is the only one. And also when Light is flipping through a book, looking through Shinigamis and whatnot, it's all Ryuk.
Yeah.
Like, it's always Ryuk. So that's implying that Ryuk is the only god of death.
And he's been around fucking with people in this way for at least a couple centuries.
Yeah, so, I mean, and to be fair, like, you know, Ryuk actually probably could do that, because he's like, there's always been a number of Death Notes who have made their way into the human world in the past, so he could have been there before he did the whole thing with Light. But at the same time, though, in this movie, it's implying that actually that Ryuk has been hanging around the Earth for quite a long time.
There's a rule in the Death Note that says if the Death Note is dropped and lost, this is the original Death Note.
Yeah.
If it's lost or dropped, then or stolen or whatever, then the owner has 490 days to get it, or else it will go back to the Shinigami.
Yeah.
In this, it's 7, which means that there's a 7-day turnaround. If people don't want to use the Death Note, 1 week later, it's on to someone new.
Yeah.
This thing should be fucking packed.
And that's also another thing, too. Ryuk will find it a new home.
Yeah.
Like, this is
also,
implying...
It's implied that Ryuk is the one killing these people.
Yes.
It's not that they just die because of the Death Note's action. Ryuk goes there and it's like, all right, let's get our hands dirty.
And here's another thing, too. There's this one scene in there that is implying that Shinigamis can be killed by Death Notes. Because it does not say in there that the Death Note cannot, if you write a name in there, it won't matter.
But it also says that any human whose name is written in the Death Note. That actually is there.
True. So the thing is, though, alright, it's implied that that Shinigamis can possibly get killed by Death Notes. And Light says, he's like, I have the Death Note, it's like, you're my Shinigami, like, you
fucking listen to me or I'm going to write your name.
And then he's like, so you can try, but I'll tell you, there's 4 letters in my name, the most anyone has gotten is 2. Now, that implies something really interesting. But, at the same time, though, that's all. Alright, let's just say it for the first point. It implies that, A, there have been previous Death Note owners in the past who realize how fucking terrifying Ryuk is.
Yeah.
And how he is primarily
It's not even
doing
implied,
this.
it's outright said, because on one of the first pages...
No, that's my next point, is the fact that on one of the first pages where the rules are written, it says, scrawled into the side, Ryuk is not your friend.
He's not your pet. Don't trust him.
Yeah. That is one of 2 things that is kind of bad in its own logic, though. One, okay, that implies, alright, this is like, you don't trust anything that Ryuk says, and that adds to the bait and switch later on when he thinks that Ryuk is the one who killed the FBI agents. The problem being, though, he said the most amount of letters of his name anyone written the Death Note was 2. Does the page, because it's a rule page, not count?
Despite another rule saying all pages in the Death Note count as the whole note?
Yeah.
No matter what, there's a flaw in logic here.
I'm sorry, and also the fact of the matter is, though, considering how long Death Note has been out, the manga too, and also all the Japanese renditions, you should not have flaws in your logic this gaping. Yeah. Especially if it's based off of a goddamn show where the majority of the character development is all through their insane attention to logic and detail.
It's even worse when you think about it, because your
detective story needs to have a throw line of logic.
You're changing the rules to fit your narrative.
Fine.
Whatever. If you look back at it, there was no reason to change it to the 7-day rule.
No.
Period.
There was not.
There was no reason to change it. It could have easily stayed 49 because he never gave up any...
In the original
ownership.
Death Note, they had the fake rules in there.
Actually, you know what? There might have been, because at the very end of the film...
Because I thought it was within 10 days.
Well, no, at the very... In what?
In the original
the 10-day rule.
The fake...
You have to write a name every
10 days or else you'll die.
Well, the reason I think the 7-day thing was brought up was because at the very end of the movie, he's put in that coma.
Yeah.
If he had stayed under for more than 7 days, or he didn't have the notebook within those 7 days, he would have lost it. So I feel like he had to put, 4 days.
And also, you can only...
If he kept it at 490, he would be like, I'll get it eventually.
Well, he also said that he... also says in the book, though, that you can only control people up to 2 days prior to something like that. So he had to have it within that certain time frame.
All in all, you shouldn't have changed the rules if it didn't help you that much. It would have been much easier to change your story than it would have been to change these rules. Because all you're doing when you change these rules is opening yourself up to us ranting for half an hour about this fucking shit.
I have read online of how much the internet has been tearing this movie apart. And sure, we're just one more voice of the fire, but honestly, I really legitimately wanted to like this movie. Before this movie came out, I was actively trying to defend it against people in message boards and stuff like that, because they're like, oh, it looks terrible. I'm like, I never judge a movie on its trailer. Like, you have to watch a movie. The reason I can bitch and moan about the Twilight movies is because I've seen all of them. So the fact of the matter is, though, I can say that Twilight is a stupid-ass movie because I've sat through the damn thing. You can't base it off of a trailer.
Like we said, we're voices on the fire. Tons of people have said this. It's all like we said. This is a week afterwards, but we're filming this a little bit in advance. So God only knows how many other people have come out and said it.
It's been out for a couple days when we get it, so...
Let's just go into our final thoughts.
The one thing that I will say last about the acting, though, before we get into the final thoughts, is with L. For the most part, he plays the part exceptionally well. I bought his role through and through. Regardless of whether or not that, you compare it to the original or not, he definitely clocked L down as a character. I never felt that from Mia or from Light. I never felt any consistency. Right. The problem was, and this is mostly how it was written, the last act of the movie, his character goes completely out the window. Now, you could say that because Watari dies,
Yeah, he had his own
also
emotional
everyone
attachment.
mispronounces Watari. Like, they call it Watari.
It's Ong, Katara. You're fucking. It's just the way.
And if they know how to pronounce Kira,
It's 2 syllables. 3 is a bit tough.
yeah, but yeah, because when Watari dies, oh yeah, by the way, we didn't mention about nicknames.
Oh, that's right. You can just write nicknames in the book. They kill,
Or for only one name.
they kill Kenny Doyle.
And they put Watari's
And it
name in
works.
there. One, Watari is supposed to be a code name.
But it's not.
But it's not in this one, so they
And
they just wrote in Watari.
But clearly you don't need the full name to work anyway. So
No.
why could you not just write L? Should have worked, especially after you saw his face. But
Yeah, but final thoughts.
I got.
And the last thing with L's character in the very last part of it, it's so out of context and so emotional and so irrational and all that kind of stuff that it just doesn't work. Except there's this one moment where he's like holding Light at gunpoint, and then a guy comes out. He's like, "Oh, be careful! This guy is Kira," and he knocks him over the head. He's like, "Lord Kira." I'm like, that is actually something that should have happened in the anime.
I mean, I like the moment, but that's not anything to say with L.
No,
That's
no.
just, and I agree.
That was just happened during that time where he was being completely out of character.
I agree, L in that last act, but I don't blame the actor for that.
No, I don't. I blame the writing.
Yeah.
The final thoughts on this is just the fact of the matter is, the movie is competently made. The effects are decent. The Ryuk in this is the best I've ever seen, including out of all of the live action versions. But the writing and the acting is okay, but the writing is fucking terrible. The writing in this is fucking appalling, and actually the directing is pretty lackluster. Like, it's pretty meh. Like, for the most part, I feel that the actors don't even know what the fuck they're doing half the time. But that's just it. Just the thing is with this, if you're a diehard fan of the anime or the manga or something like that, you're gonna be fucking pissed at this. If you don't know about it, or if you're not a fan of it, this movie's just gonna be,
For me, I agree that I think it looks fine. I think that with camera movements, with the effects, with Ryuk, all of it looks fine. I think that the actors did fine. I don't think that any one person specifically came out and was just like, "Hello, I am Kira." No, I think it was fine. Except for the moments that we mentioned with Light, but we've gotten past that. I don't think the writing was bad in regards to dialogue. I think that the characters talking to each other was fine, except for the notebook scene, as we mentioned already. That was out there, but
it was stupid.
The plot moved forward. Pacing was a little bit off, but the scenes within itself felt okay. If you looked at them compared to other scenes, maybe a bit too fast, maybe a bit too slow. Okay. The plot, the story, the world it was setting up, and the characters within it is so frustrating, so rage-inducing, so annoying. Why? Like, I would have been so much better off if they had made, like, all the names kind of similar. Like, it wasn't L. It wasn't this private detective that nobody knew. It was a guy within the Seattle PD that coming out of retirement to fix it or something. And maybe he goes by, like, a similar name or something. But
Why did it have to be that though?
you name them all different things, and then at the very end, Ryuk drops the notebook in Japan or something, where he goes back and he decides he's going to try again later.
And then Light picks it up.
And then Light picks it up. That shit. That would have made me been like, oh my.
The ending is fucking
It
terrible.
was his own story. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It simultaneously tried to be its own story while not moving away from the source material, and you get this Cronenberg fucking mess of shit. It's just shit. There's nothing redeemable. There is so little redeemable that we can rant for this long, and everybody else is already on that boat.
Everybody else is already tuned out by this point.
So,
Like, we've gone on like this for like Amber Alert and shit.
so all in all, the reason this movie hurt so bad was because I like the original. I cannot divorce myself from that.
I can divorce myself, but it's hard.
Not entirely.
It was my favorite anime for years.
Yeah, it was great. And I mean, hell, we still have the box set in here, don't we?
I do.
So we like this show. It's good. Watch that.
Watch
It's
it.
on Netflix.
All of it.
Which is
way more satisfying.
all in all, Death Note 2017. No, I'm giving it a no.
No, big no.
So that is Netflix
5
original.
turds.
That is the Netflix original, not adaptation. The original
Death Note.
That was a good review. It was good in my brain meats. I think we should get a cake to celebrate. What name should I put on the cake? He won't see through my rose.
Matt, your inner monologue is sounding a little bit doofy. What's going on?
I'm being adapted.
This is truly troubling news. Let me ask a few questions. Cable?
Netflix.
Miniseries?
Movie.
Your girlfriend Misa?
Mia.
Japanese?
Seattle.
Oh no. One last question. This is a bit selfish. What happens to me? What happens to my character? Am I still super intelligent?
Yeah, you're super smart.
Oh, thank God. It's good to know that my character was kept intact and wasn't ruined during the transition. Anyway, time to die.
You packed in the morning, I stared out the window and I struggled for something to say. You left in the rain without closing the door. I didn't stand in your way. Now I miss you more than I missed you before, and now where I'll find comfort, God knows. 'Cause you